burning down pretty good now. Just wasted all this time and effort. Let's give this another shot. I'm up here in the high country, and obviously the seasons have changed. I started this video back in the fall of last year, and just now getting back into the filming schedule. And so part 1 is complete and will be published soon. So I'm up here to work on episode number 2. So we're going to be out here in the snow. I've got a nice fire going back behind me. I'm going to cook some salmon later on the coals, and just kind of enjoying the peace and solitude up here, and be very conducive for working on this project. So with that said, let's begin. Those of you who viewed episode 1 will remember the entire episode was devoted to constructing the rawhide head for the rattle, and I stitched it with yucca fibers all the way around using a mountain whitethorn, which is the name of the shrub. They have long thorns, and I used that as a sewing needle. So what we're going to do today, I harvested a dead cedar branch as a stick, and I'm going to include the proper way of harvesting those in the back, the spiritual way, traditional manner, and I'll put that in the back for those of you who are interested in viewing that. And I also collected some small pebbles, and those will go inside the rattle to make the sound. The rattles they represent the 3 kingdoms, the animal, plant, and mineral kingdoms. The animal kingdom being represented by the leather wrapping, which we're going to put on the handle, the rawhide obviously, and feathers, and the mineral kingdom represented by the small pebbles, and plant, the stick or handle. So we have quite a bit of work to do today. It's not a big project, but it is kind of a big project. And also beads made from buffalo bone, which I have more of those here. And I'm going to show the traditional manner of preparing a feather. Some of you may have wondered how native people attach feathers to their regalia, hair, etc. And there's a way that the quill is prepared in order to do that. And I'm going to demonstrate how to do that here in a little bit. And I already did this one, wrapped it with hemp cordage using a compression lashing. This one here has not been prepared, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate today, how to do that. So we'll set this one aside over here out of the way. I have to whittle the stick to get it to fit the hole. So I'm going to whittle this down, and I'm probably going to shorten this just a little bit by a couple of inches. Probably up to about here where my thumb is, so I've got to work on that. We're going to prepare the feather and bead that one after we do the compression lashing. I have horsehair here. Whoops. There we go. I have horsehair here. I've already done one side, and that is a compression lashing on this side. And that leaves a loop, just like on the feather quill. The cordage, the piece of rawhide lacing I put on here, or buckskin rather, I put on here just to hold it together. Now I'm gonna leave this attached as one, and we're going to bend this over and apply a compression lashing. So we're going to make this side look like this side, and then we'll cut that in the middle, and that's going to be two adornments on the rattle in addition to the feathers. So one will go on the back of the handle as a tassel, and one will go up near the head of the rattle, and then we got to wrap the handle. So, and then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to do some artwork on here. I'm going to put a bear. I'm going to draw it on, native symbol for a bear. The bear is a symbol of wisdom and strength to the native people. So I'm going to hand draw one on here. I'll do all that at home. I didn't bring all those supplies up here. It'd be too much to deal with today. And then on the other side, I'm going to probably put the symbol for the medicine wheel with the 4 colors and the quadrants. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the handle. No need to observe that. I'm just going to whittle it down, remove the bark, shorten it. And nothing is written in stone with this project. You can personalize your rattle any way you want. You don't have to do it exactly the way I'm doing it. This is just the way I'm doing it personally, but there's nothing in this project, this type of thing, that is written in stone. You can, excuse me, you can personalize it and put whatever you want on it. Use whatever wood you want for the handle. You can go to the hardware store and get a dowel if that's what you want to do. I'm just building one in a primitive, more or less primitive, traditional manner, because I'm going to use it for ceremonial work, for meditation, healing, things of that nature. The rattles are used to keep rhythm with the dances. They're also used for meditation, to enter an altered state of consciousness. And rattles are also used in the same manner that sage is. You can use the rattle to clear a space prior to ceremonial work. You can also use it to clear a structure, just as you would with sage. You can also use it to clear an aura or the energy field, just as you would with the smoke of the sage, to remove and banish negativity. So those are other uses for this type of thing. So with that said, I've got a lot of work to do today, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this, get this handle whittled down, bark removed, get it to just to where I want it, and I'm going to whittle it down to where it'll fit inside the hole. And once I get to that point, then I will prepare the feather. We're going to do that first, then the horsehair. Then we'll get to installing the pebbles inside the head here. I'll show you how to tune the rattle, which again, that's personal preference. I just tuned it the way I like it. And then we'll attach the head to the stick, and then I've got deer skin lacing here, which we'll go ahead and install. So with all of that said, I'm going to get started and shall return, so stay tuned. Okay, moving along here. I shortened the handle a bit, and reduce the diameter so it would fit in the hole. So we're looking good here. So we'll go ahead and place the pebbles. These are just standard pebbles that I just scouted around and picked up. Larger pebbles will produce a deeper sound tone to it, and the smaller ones a higher tone. And you don't have to use pebbles, you can use beans, rice. Use whatever you feel that you want in there. That's personal preference. And tuning the rattle is personal choice. It's whatever, you know, add as much as you want in there and shake it until it resonates with you. You'll know that the tone is right when it kind of speaks to you on a subconscious level. It'll just feel right. Again, there's no hard and fast rule to this at all. I'm going to kind of move along here. I've got a lot of ground to cover today here. And you can cut this rawhide. Some people, you could cut it in the shape of a half moon. This is a traditional round shape. Some make it a turtle, shape of a turtle. However you want to make it, get creative. And that was a tone I like. That was the one that spoke to me, so that's the one I'm going to go with. I tried larger pebbles and it just didn't sound right to me. So here we go with this. I'm going to set this all off to the side over here. And next on the list is the feather. So as we just covered, we did this one. I'm going to show how native people prepare the quills. So you can fold it over and then lash it. Traditionally they use sinew. I'm using hemp cordage, and I like the crimson red for this project. So, and it matched the red, the buffalo bone beads, which are dyed red. So to do this, you want, make sure you're in frame here. I have a hard time seeing my screen out here in the snow because it's very bright. Okay, there we go. So you take your feather, you want a very sharp knife for this deal. If you're doing it traditionally, you can use a piece of flint, sharp flint, obsidian. You want to cut it on the inside. So we're going to fold it over on the inside. That leaves the outside intact. We're going to thin this quill down by 50%. These cut very easy with a sharp knife. This one here is sharp as a razor blade. I have my salmon fillet back behind me buried in the snow. Later on I'll let these coals, let this fire die down, and then I'll put, I'm going to cook it directly on the coals for lunch. Put it on a flat surface. We're going to thin it down. by 50%. And this should cut pretty easy with a very sharp blade. I'm going to thin that down a little bit more so we're not getting a loop. There we go. You can see it opens up. So we'll run the, we'll start the compression lashing down here where the feathers begin on the quill, and we'll run it up to about a 1/4 inch, roughly, from the top. So let me go ahead and prepare some cordage, and I will show you how we do that. And this is what it looks like when it's, you just shave it by half. Bend it over. If you need to take a little more off, do what you have to do. Stay tuned. Okay, so whenever you're running a compression lashing, it's always best to peel off more cord than you think you need, because usually if you don't do that, you're going to run short. The compression lashing we're going to leave a tail on here for the beads. So you want to form a loop. And leave a generous tail here, because again, if you don't leave more than you think you need, it'll be too short. Bend your quill over. It's a little unwieldy at first. So you have your loop. And the quill's kind of springy. It wants to keep popping up, so after it's folded over, so you have to kind of hold that at the same time while you're holding the two pieces of cordage. So this is our tail for the beads, just like this one. Take your longer piece, move my thumb down to the bottom here. Actually, I'm going to go down a little bit further. There we go. You're going to start your wrap at the bottom. once it gets started, it's a lot easier to deal with. Wrap it fairly tight. Don't overlap your turns. This is what we have. I don't want to let go of this. It'll come undone. Going to run our turns up the quill just like this, just overlapping. We got to leave enough room here to get that piece of leather in there, leather cordage, so I may have to pry that open a little bit. That's okay. So maintaining the tension on this, put a finger on it so it doesn't unravel. Take this cord here, you're running in, pass it through the loop, just like that. You want to make sure this is tight. You don't want any slack. Come down here to the end that we're going to put the beads on. Keeping a grip on everything, pull it. See that loop coming down? And when you get to this point, before you pull it in, just pull on this piece, make sure there's no slack. Just make sure it's snug. Compression lashing's got a lot of uses. You want to be careful not to pull too hard and break your cordage. You just want to suck that piece in. And that little edge got stuck right on the edge of that turn. You don't want to force it. It'll break that cordage. I don't want to pull too hard here. Once it sucks it inside, it holds itself. If you're dealing with bigger cordage like bank line, even paracord, you can really pull on it. It'll suck it all the way down inside. This stuff has like a 20-pound breaking limit, and I don't want to push my luck here. Otherwise I'll be having to redo this. So it looks pretty good. So this is the one we're going to use coming out the bottom to put the beads on. This piece here we can get rid of now. So we're going to cut that off flush. Just like that. And this is what we have. Easy peasy. This gives us a loop up here. You can sew this to attach it to regalia. You run thread through this and through leather or whatever you're attaching it to. It could also be attached to hair. But that is the traditional manner of preparing the feather quills. And next up we're going to do the horsehair in just the same manner, and that's a little bit more of a pain in the butt because it wants to move around. Oh, we got to put, well, I'm going to put beads. I'm going to put beads on here. I don't think I need to show how to do that. It's just standard beads with a hole in it. And you can make that as long as you want. This is the length that I came up with on the other feather, and I'm going to more or less match it with this one. So I'll put the beads on, and I used symbolically 5 beads. The 5 beads are representative of the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit, or akasha. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And once you get your beads on, then determine how long you want the cord to dangle, and you can put a knot, stop knot down on the end here. either a single overhand or a figure 8. That'll keep the beads from sliding off, and then just cut off the excess of your cordage. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't need to demonstrate that. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. So when I get that done, I will return, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing with the horsehair, and then proceed to wrapping that handle over there. So stay tuned, I shall return. Alright, so I got the beads, here we go, beads installed on this one. So now, the horsehair can be a little unwieldy. For that fact, I'm going to tie another piece of buckskin lacing on here, kind of hold it together. Determine how far we're going to do our loop here. You can see hairs will pop up. So that's usually an indicator that you need to start your bend a little further down. That's just uneven hairs. See, now there's none. Give you another example here. Now you can see the hairs, which that isn't bad. Those could always be trimmed. I think we're probably going to go right about here. Okay, and like I said, always peel off more than you think you're going to need. And it's the same exact method. You can form a loop. And the hair, like I said, the hair can be a little difficult to work with. So you're going to start. Once it gets going, it gets a lot easier. It's the same exact deal. Just wrap it pretty tight. I probably have a little too much cordage here. It's getting snagged on everything, but that's okay. I'd rather too much than not enough. So you just keep wrapping it. All the way to the top. Well, not all the way to the top. You want to leave the loop. The further you go up, the smaller your loop. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera so you guys aren't sitting there for the next 10 minutes while I negotiate this thing, and I shall return. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is where we're at. And just like on the feather, we have our loop back here on the back side. So we're going to pull this tight and then hold it. And then run your tag in through the loop. Just like that. And then making sure it's tight. Come down to the bottom and pull. See that pull in there? Just like that. Boom. Now we have a loop, a few stray pieces, I'll trim that off. So this is where we're at with both of these. So I just have to cut these. I'll probably leave a longer, I might go 50-50. I'll just find the center point and cut it. I think that'll look pretty good, but I like that crimson. I like that crimson hemp color. And this, you just trim it off close, even up here. Clean off your frayed pieces, and so that's where we are. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, cut it, and we'll move on ahead. Stay tuned. Okay, so this is where we are. I cut this one intentionally longer, this one here. That's going to go on the back of the handle. I just thought it'd look better with a longer adornment on the back. Smoke's getting me here. Shorter piece will go up front with the feathers. I think it's going to look pretty good. The feathers as an accent up here in the front. So that's where we are right now. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this. This is deerskin lacing. I think it was 3/8 of an inch wide, if I remember correctly. Now you want your handle, you don't want to go way up inside, obviously, just up about that far, so I'll take my finger and has a gauge. Right about there ought to be good. Right about there. So to wrap this, I'm going to start up here. And for obvious reasons, you want to make this pretty tight so it holds. And then as you move it down on the wrap here, you want to overlap it just a little bit so the material underneath isn't showing. I'm pushing that lip of that rawhide down here best I can. So not too much of a bump under there. I did wet it a bit this morning before I left to soften it a bit, but it's kind of dried out by now. This is where you want to go nice and tight. You can use solid pieces of leather and stitch them on, or you just leave the wood plain. Again, it's personal preference. Okay, I'm going to pause right here and make sure that's pretty solid. That is not going anywhere. I'm going to run this all the way down to the back side, and then we're going to run another compression lashing to secure it. To the edge, just like that. We're going to hold this. cut it. Just like that. Now to hold this in place so it doesn't come undone before we can lash it, go ahead and tie a single overhand here. Just like that. So this is where we are currently. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to prepare some lacing, and we're going to do a compression lashing up here, probably 1 or 2, and then 1 in the back, and attach the feathers and the horsehair. So stay tuned. Okay, I've got this more or less ready in the back, and I ran a loop of buckskin lacing through around the back of the handle through the loop of the horsehair, and it's tied on and secured with a small piece of the lacing to kind of hold everything together. And I've got a longer piece here, and I'm doing the same compression lashing, same exact lashing. Had to change positions here, my legs are falling asleep. I decided to leave a little bit of a tassel on here. So once I get this thing started, it's these things can be pretty unwieldy at first. It's very awkward, especially if you're working by yourself. If you have a partner, somebody to help you out. Okay, trying to figure out so I don't get confused here. Okay. I've got a piece here I've got to remove. Pull this thing tight so it'll stay on here. There we go. This one. Get it off here without screwing everything up. Lacing and there it is. Had a little rat's nest going on there. Pull this tight here so it doesn't come loose on me. There we go. just like we did before. It's just a another compression lashing. Just take your time. I had this orange, actually mistakenly ordered this orange lacing. I was going to use brown for this, and I was really torn between the orange or the brown. I thought, well, maybe the orange will look kind of funky, but you know, as I'm putting it on here, I think it will add some pizzazz to it. I've left 2 tassels hanging down here. That's a piece that goes through and through the loop here, and then back around to the other side. I thought that would make some interesting adornments on the back side. So I want these to be on either side of the handle, just like that. So probably one more wrap. I guess that orange don't look too bad against the black. I didn't think I would like it. Kind of rustled back and forth. The brown looked kind of plain. It's the brown. Kind of dark on dark. And I thought, you know, I'll just use up that. I've got quite a bit of this orange. So we passed it through the loop, just like the other one. Make sure it's pulled tight. We're going to go back here to the back, grab the tail. Sucking in, and we'll stop right there before we go any further. Make sure this is tight, that we didn't leave any slack on there. We'll go ahead and pull that. We're just going to pull it enough to where it's stuck on the lip here, so I'm going to try to get that last wrapping so it'll suck down in there. That is probably about as far as it's going to go. There's 2 little danglers I'm going to leave on here. This one here will be trimmed. And I'll actually probably just trim it here to leave an extra dangler. Look kind of cool back here. This one on the tail will be trimmed off. There's no need to leave that one on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll go ahead and get the front attached. Stay tuned. Okay, I've got the other piece of horsehair and the two feathers, and these are strung on the crimson hemp cord. I had it on a little piece of buckskin lacing, but it's a little too thick for this application, and they weren't hanging naturally, so I think they hang a lot better with the on the thinner cordage here. So plus the red matches the lashings and the beads. So that's where we are. So let me get this. We're going to attach these so they hang up here in the front, and we're going to run some more of the orange lacing up here, another compression lashing, and these will be connected up here. Actually, I want them to face forward like that. I think that's going to look pretty doggone good. Yeah, I think we're good right here. Cut that long piece so it's not running competition here. Run it through the loop like we did last time. Locate the tail back here, and then pull it. Get right down to the edge, and then stop, and then make sure this piece is snugged up nice and tight. Pull that piece in. Make sure everything looks the way it should. I think we're good. So trim that off, these two pieces. I was thinking about leaving these tassels, but I think I'll cut these off so it looks a little bit neater. So let me go ahead and trim this up, and I'll be right back. Whoop. Oh, that wasn't good. Yeah, that looks a lot better. So go ahead and cut this. Run it through the loop. Make sure it's tight. Locate the tag end here. Pull that before we pull it in. Make sure it's snug. Got a woodpecker almost directly above me. You can probably hear him. So I'll trim that off and trim this. Let me go ahead and trim that, and I'll be right back. So this is where we are. Came out pretty decent. Doesn't look too bad. I like it. I think it sounds pretty good. So like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some artwork. I'm not doing that up here. I didn't bring the art supplies, but so I'm going to go ahead and conclude the video up here, but then at the end I'm going to include the spiritual way of harvesting a handle and providing proper thanks for the gift of the tree. And then I'll also show the at the very end of the video, I'll show the actually after the conclusion, I'll put the proper harvesting all the way at the end for those who are interested, but the artwork I'll show after the conclusion. So if you want to see that, just let the video keep rolling, and you'll come right to that. So, but yeah, seems all right. Pretty happy with it. Well, I'm back home and completed the artwork. I freehanded a native symbol for a bear on one side of the rawhide. Then a medicine wheel on the other side. I think it came out pretty decent. Pretty happy with it. I'm probably going to build a few other ones. But that is the project and its completion. Thanks for watching. I hope all of you enjoyed the video as much as I did making it. Please like, subscribe, and share. I hope all of you are having an outstanding day or night, depending on where you are located, and I will see all of you very soon on the next one. I have a lot of videos planned this year, a lot of exclusive content, and another look at the rattle. It has a really nice sound. I like the tone to it. So stay tuned for the artwork on this, and I'll do all of that at home, and I'll show you the finished product on that. So, and also the at the end, the harvesting of the handles. So everybody take care. Thanks for watching. Hey, welcome back. It's I've been working on this video for a while. I had about a 4-month pause through the winter, and now we're into the early spring, and obviously the seasons have changed. So I'm just now getting back to this video, and I'm actually currently shooting another video right now and doing a little snowshoeing in the process. So what I wanted to place in the back of this episode was the proper harvesting of the handle for the rattle. And it's not necessary. You can use any wood that you want. You can use a wooden dowel from the hardware store if that's what you want to do. But I wanted to put this in the back to show the traditional way of doing it, because I'm putting these, I'm actually building a few rattles. I'm going to give a couple away, and I'm building one for myself, and I want to do it traditionally, so that it has the energy in it, and use it for meditation and healing purposes. So with that said, basically you don't want to overthink it. You don't want to let the logical side of your mind create a roadblock. It's real easy. So basically it's real easy to get distracted on this and make it too difficult, and it doesn't have to be that way. So the easiest way to do is to just allow your conscience to guide you. It's almost like a vision quest. You're going to clear your mind if you're going to go out and harvest one, and decide which, kind of let the tree decide which one wants to volunteer a stick, a handle for your rattle. And you can just clear your mind and allow your conscience to guide you. Now, I was drawn to these Callicedrus decurrens, these cedar trees here, incense cedars, and on one quarter Miwok and Comanche. To the Miwok, the cedar tree was very sacred, has a lot of cleansing, healing properties, protective qualities, wards off evil. So I figured, that's the one that I'm drawn to personally. And so what you do is, once it feels right, it's not going to talk to you specifically in a voice that you're going to hear. It's going to give you impressions. So if it feels right, if you're drawn to it and it feels right, that's the one that you need to take. So what we're going to do is we're going to harvest a stick that will fit into the hole in the rattle head that we built, or that you build, and you should get it a little bit oversized. You can kind of remove the bark and whittle it down just a little bit. So that's pretty much all there is to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around here and I'm going to find this. This is the incense cedar. Incidentally, it's the same one that they build pencils. They make pencils from. So if you smell that strong cedar smell, that comes from this tree. The cedar smell from that is in the pencils. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to harvest a stick or two, and I shall return. Stay tuned. And traditionally, you're taught never to take without giving in return. Traditional method, you can use tobacco as an offering of thanks. I prefer to use seed, and I carry just a bag of assorted carrot mix with me. And that's my way of gifting nature. These are the trees that I just harvested. The 2 handles, and you just cast them at the base. Whatever you use, it should be natural. In other words, you don't want to use a soda pop can or something. That would be littering. So that's just whatever speaks to you. Whatever method, that's the one you should use.